Alright, so I'm just going to walk you through Google Forms. So if you just type in forms.google.com, it'll get you here. You can see, just like lots of other things, there's templates that you can use, and so I've created a few here, but you can just go in and select any kind of template from your gallery. If I click here, these are the ones I've created, and then these are the general ones that you can just select and utilize. Just going to start with a blank one though. Okay, so the first thing you do when you come in is you give your form a title. So let's call this test form 1. Okay, and you'll see that once you click up here for the name up here, it'll change the name to what's here. Give the form a description, so maybe you're asking your students to provide some feedback. So you might say, please complete this survey on our latest unit in class. Right. From here then you want to add questions. So the first question is here for you already. And so when you click down here, it says untitled question. Now Google's pretty smart, so as you type, it will automatically decide what kind of question it thinks that you're after. And so if I click the drop down, there's actually lots of different types of questions that I could be asking for. But if I just go here and ask for their name, okay, and see it changes straight away to a short answer. Make this required, so any question can be required or not required. You also have 3 dots next to that, so you can click that and you can have a response validation if you like. Now response validation is particularly important for something that's not a name. Let's say that they have to enter your Google site URL, for example. Again, that's short, and see it's automatically done this to using its Genius. So it's now got a response validation turned on. See, it's ticked. I can turn that off if I want to. It has to be a text and it has to be a URL. So that means basically that they have to actually enter HTTP or PS, depending on what that is, along with their website in order for it to be able to be submitted. Again, make this a required question. Now, on the right here, again, I can just add another question with this plus button. This time if I want multiple choice, I might say choose your favorite activity. Right, and so it's going to stay as multiple choice. I'm going to put here, maybe we did some Kahoot quizzes. Maybe you did some balloon activities, etc. And you could add as many options here as you like. Okay, now if I want to, I could then duplicate this question. So if I'm going to do something that's very similar, I can just click duplicate. It'll give me the same thing. And now I might say rather than your favorite, choose your least favorite. And that's just saved me time. Okay, so that's quick and easy. You can easily delete here. You can make this any kind. So if you want a paragraph where they're going to respond with an extended response, you can choose that. If you want them to select all that apply, that's a checkbox. You can also use a drop down. I often use drop downs to then determine where they go next. So for example, if I do here and then I say, which topic did you complete? And then I'm going to make that a drop down. And so did they do sports medicine? Or maybe they did improving performance? Or whatever the topics are in your subject. Now from here, I'm going to make this required, and now I'm going to do something else as well. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to choose that you go to the next section based on your answer here. So I'm going to create a new section. So you see this equals, that's the new section, and this section is my sports medicine questions, and then I'm going to put another section in, and this section is going to be the improving performance topic. So I'll have a question that is specific to those topics, but based on what they choose here. Now to make it so that it's based on what they choose here, I'm going to change the actions that go with this. So here I've got a description, but I also have here go to section based on answer. Now this happens for only really for questions that are multiple choice or for choose a drop down where there's only going to be one choice and it's not something that the students can make up themselves. So I'm going to say go to section based on answer. So this one, they're going to go to the sports medicine section, and this will go to the improving performance section. And so now when they select that, if they select improving performance, they won't see sports medicine, they'll get taken straight to improving performance questions. So in here then, if I click back down here and add a question, and just go test 1, let's say that's going to be a linear scale, so then give me a rating out of from 1 to 5. So this is boring maybe, and this was awesome. And so I might put a few different questions in like that. And then for improving performance, I might do something similar. So we're going to add questions here. And this time, let's choose, I want to use a multiple choice grid. And so here they're going to rank. So if I want to rank them, I might do checkbox. Rank each of the activities completed. Right, and so here we'll have activity 1, activity 2, and so we're just ranking them 1, 2, 3, if there's a third one. Okay, and you can do that as many as you like, and then they're going to just select an answer in each column. Now, I can make this require a response in each row, so tick, so each row has to have column selected, so activity 1 has to be chosen at some point, and that way I get the complete ranking for all of them. That's just another type of question. If you do a multiple choice one for that, it basically means that there's only one right answer that they are to pick out of all the options that are there. Now, I might then do another section, and this is them submitting your task. Okay, and so now their question, I'm actually going to say, is a file upload. So let students upload. Yep, we can continue. And so now, it's going to say upload your assessment task, or whatever it is that you want them to upload. Now, I only want specific file types, so let's turn that on. I want them to submit it as a PDF. Okay, I don't want any other kind of document. Or if they want, they could also possibly do it as a video for me. Let's say they're my options. How many files can they upload? Just one. Maximum file size. How big do you want to let them upload? So these are megabytes, these is gigabytes. So gigabytes can be very big, but if you're doing video, you might want to make sure that they can actually upload at least 1 gigabyte so that it'll fit depending on how long that's going to be. Okay, and so we might make that required too. And then you can also do things like ask questions about dates. So when did you finish this task? And so now, see this, now it's a date one. So there's a date, and automatically they've got to put in the date. Now you can see here, for some reason, my overall settings are set wrong. So this should say day, month, year, not month, day, year. But you can change that in your settings, and I'll show you how to do that later. And then here, description, include the time. Okay, make it required. And then I could also show a description if I want to, but that's the basics of getting survey type results from what you're doing. Now, if you wanted to make this more like a quiz, what you do is you go to settings up here, and then here we've got all of our settings for the form. Do I want to collect email addresses? How many responses? So they're automatically going to get sent a response if they want it. I can restrict it to who gets access. So now it's open to everyone. Limit to 1 response if I like. Edit after submission. See summary charts and responses if you want them to see those. Presentation, do you want to shuffle the progress bar? Sorry, do you want to show the progress bar, shuffle the question order, or show link to submit another response? This here is your actual confirmation message. So here I might say, thanks for completing the survey. Please come and see me at lunch for an ice block, for example. Like, you can just put anything you want on there. You could even put on there what they need to do next. while you wait for everyone else. And so you might just give them something to do there. Now, over here it says quizzes. So I'm going to save that. Oops, sorry, settings. Here's quizzes. Make this a quiz. So when's the grade, so their mark going to be given to them. I like to do this because then it means that I can double check before they get everything back. What can they see? So they can see missed questions. Do you want them to be able to see the correct answer once they're finished, which could be helpful or not helpful? And do you want them to see their points values? So the points values basically means when you see the question, it'll have a number of points next to it, and that's how you then they know how much the question is worth. So if I click save now and I go to their name, for example, let's say it wasn't the name. So you can see the answer key here says 1 point. So if I click that, I can change how many points it's worth. So let's make it 0 because it's just their name. I can put in what the correct answer is. Okay. And then I could determine whether or not all other answers are incorrect. So if you ask, for example, you could use this really well if you want to develop your students' spelling and grammar, because you could have the correct spelling here and mark all other answers as incorrect, and that would be great. You can even add answer feedback. So this is feedback that will get when they finish answering it and they click the submit button. So this is feedback just on this question. So you might just say, if you were doing spelling, for example, you might ask them to double check how they to check it in a Google search or something. So check for correct spelling in Google search and ensure you are looking at UK English, not USA English, because obviously there's clear differences in spelling there, and English should always have a capital. Now within your feedback you can also provide links, and you can put in videos and stuff as well. Just click save, and that means the students will automatically get this kind of feedback when they're going through and answering the questions. So click done, and that's it. So you can determine each question now, because it's a quiz, has 1 point automatically added to it. If I want, I could go down here, for example, though, and say that this question, because it requires 3 different answers, I go here, so it automatically has 3 points, which is great. So answer key, I have to determine which one's correct, right? So they should be saying that that's number 2, that's their best favorite one, and that's not. I can make each one with different marks. Click save. Same for multiple choice. So your multiple choice ones, when you go to the answer key, you have to determine which one is correct. Okay. Now finally, the other thing I might show you is how to import questions. So here, I'm going to click this button. It's going to give me all my other Google Forms. And let's just say I want to open up questions that are in this quiz. Right, so I'm going to select that one. So here I have all the questions that were in that quiz. Okay, and so I might just go sort the companies from oldest to youngest, and I can then import that question, or I might want 2 questions, import them, and then it will import them at the spot where I was. So I think I was at the bottom. No, I must have still been clicked up here. Yep, there we go. So sort the companies from youngest to oldest, and when was Google founded. And they come with all their already preset. So if I have a look at the answer key, it'll tell me which one is the correct answer. And here's a video that just has a bit of a GIF that says, well done. Try Googling it if you got it wrong. So that's the kind of stuff that's in there straight away in terms of feedback. And that's a great thing, particularly for really basic content that you've been teaching. If you want your students just to have a quick check to see whether they've learned it, a Google quiz, really easy to do that. And once you've set up one quiz, you can easily just import that quiz or make copies of that quiz. So you can, obviously I've inserted an image here, so that's add an image. You can insert videos as well, and you can also add titles and descriptions to the question if you want to. Up here, these are your add-ons. Now, if I click on add-ons, these are the ones I already have. Okay, if you want to actually get more add-ons, you have to go over here to the drop-down menu, and down here you click on add-ons. And then you can search in here for whatever you want. So there's things that'll publish your forms, all the answers. You can put timers on your forms, so that if it's an exam, for example, and they've got half an hour to do this quiz, or they've got 10 minutes to do this quiz, they'll put a timer on your quiz for you. All that kind of stuff is really just extra little add-ons for Google Forms to make them more fun, or at least more to expand their use of what they can do. But you can search through that on your own later. Other things up here, you can customize your theme. So what color do you want? You want to choose an image for your header. You can change all this anytime you like. And Google will naturally put in an image for you too. If you say that this is a geography one, it might automatically find something that's related to geography. Let's put some jelly beans in just to make it colorful. Okay, I can choose my background color. As you can see, I don't like a white, font style basic, but I can make it more playful if I like. And then close the theme. So that's now my theme. There's my little jelly beans at the top. I can preview it. We've got through the settings already. Let's just have a look at more of this menu. So in here you can undo any mistakes you've done. You can make a copy of the whole form. So once you've created the form, if you want to use it for multiple classes, I recommend that you make a copy for each class, or have your first question, which class are you in? And then when they select it, that way you can at least sort out your spreadsheet at the end by what class they're in, so that you can segregate them a bit easier. You can delete it. You can get pre-filled links that you can send to students. So if I click this, I then can pre-fill some of this information for them. So if I want them to have anything that's written, I can just start to write it in for them, or if it's a date, I can tell them what date they finish the task, all that kind of stuff. You can actually begin to answer the form for them already if that's something that you would like to do. Once you've made a form, you can also print it, so that if you want a hard copy of it, you can add collaborators. It's the same as every other Google stuff, so I'm not going to go into that. You can do a script editor, which is quite a higher end thing. You don't want to play around with script editor unless you know how to do HTML scripts. They're your add-ons, and then these are your preferences. So your preferences, so I generally want to collect emails, make questions required. By default, I could do that. And then this is by default quiz points. So they're your default settings for forms. And then that's it, really, at this point. In here, you can see all your responses. So once people start to answer it, you click here and you can see it. Over here, if it's something that you want to be notified about, get email notifications for new responses, which is always good if you're using a form that kind of gets filled in every so often rather than all the time. You can select the response destination. So you could choose, for example, to fill in a brand new spreadsheet, or if you have a spreadsheet that's for that subject already, you could choose that all the responses go into that spreadsheet, and it'll just give you a new tab in that spreadsheet. It'll just say test form 1 down the bottom, and then all the results and responses will get stuck into that tab for you already with that class, which can make things quite easy for you. You can download all the responses once they're done if you like, and you can also delete responses. So if you want to use the same quiz next year, you can just delete the responses and use the same form and not have to worry about it. If you click this button, it'll launch the spreadsheet. So here, create a new spreadsheet, or if I select here, I'm going to then have to go and select a spreadsheet that already exists, and it will put it in as a tab in that spreadsheet for you. So I'm going to click cancel there because I don't need to do that. And I'm not going to generate a spreadsheet. The spreadsheet basically just has each question at the top of the spreadsheet and the answers file in underneath. They're all time stamped as well, so that you don't need to worry if someone filled in late and now it's overdue. If you're worried about those types of things, then that is automatically recorded for you in the forms because it's all time stamped like a lot of Google's things. So that's your general navigation and how to use a Google form. Make sure you play around a bit with all your different types of questions and have a look at what they look like. If you're not sure, just click preview. This is what the form will look like when someone actually goes to fill it in. Okay, and of course you click next. Now I'm not going to be able to go next because nothing's been filled in, but you can scroll through and have a look. And finally you click send, and when you click send, you can either put in the email. Now you're going to learn soon how to use Google Groups as well, and so you could type in the group's email. So you just type in anyone's email there or a group's email and it will go there. You can choose the subject for the email, whether it's going to be test form or if you just want, hey, can you please fill this in for me? And then you can type your own message here for the form. You can include the form in the email, which I like to do, but I can't for this one because it's a quiz. If I go over here, I can get a link to share. Now, if you're going to use the link, shorten it for people. If it's going to be a public link, they need to write in themselves and use a shortened link. But otherwise, if it's just going to be embedded somewhere that the kids are going to click on, it doesn't really matter. And then here, because there's a file upload, I can't embed it. But if I quickly just get rid of the file upload question, so I go down here, file upload, delete it. Now when I go here, I can show you. You can embed it, and so you just copy the code, go to your Google site, which you're going to learn how to use in a minute, and you can paste this embed code into the site and it will embed it. You'll also see in sites that you can actually just navigate and find your form and stick it in through sites anyway, but you can put this into any website. So if you wanted, for example, for this form to be filled in by parents or something at home, or it needed to go into the school's website, you can easily just embed the form straight into the school's website for them to fill it in and all those types of things. Collecting email addresses is ticked. If you don't want it, just unclick that. And that's it. You can also easily share it onto social media if you need to. But that's it. Click send and it will get there. Beautiful. We have finished forms and now we're going to go have a look at Google Sheets.